watching Rogers TV.
What a show we have for you today, my friends. We're talking a little magic and illusion on today's show. Some great Christmas markets, holiday markets coming up on the show. Fall prevention. It is Christmas choir time. There are so many great concerts. We'll tell you about one of those great concerts. But the smell in this place already smells absolutely fantastic because our friend Matt Floss from Meetings Barbecue back here on the show to tell you how, if you've got a party going on, you don't have to do the work. Matt and his entire team will do it for you. How are you, pal?
Doing great, man. Thank you.
Oh, here
so
I just
much.
smacked your microphone like the professional television host I am. the audio person. Sorry, Marcy. I apologize. I get excited when Matt's on the show. How have you been?
Fantastic, man.
Good.
Getting ready for a full holiday season coming up.
You and I were just talking about, we love the holidays.
Yes.
It's a very busy time for both of us. But January, when it comes, is also nice because you get to have a little R&R. But this is a busy time for you. Tell me, what's been going on at meetings these days?
We got lots of stuff on the go. We had an amazing dinner party last night with Lola's Kitchen. I don't know if you heard of them before.
Yeah, of course I have.
It was amazing Filipino barbecue fusion. And then, we're hopping into December soon. So, Christmas parties are full and happening right now. A lot of corporate events, a lot of backyard Christmas parties in the house, and turkeys. We talked about the turkey last time. You got to sample little Meetings turkeys. So those packages are rolling out and going to be ready for the holidays. So
and for people that aren't familiar, you guys do all the work. And that, the holidays, people get stressed out. There's a lot of anxiety involved. And you're like, hey, man, we'll take care of some of it for you.
That's it, right? Time, man. Time is, it's a magical thing. And it's one thing that you can't take back. So, hiring us and some of our other partners, just provides you that extra bit of time around the holidays to be more
let's talk about, so you have different partners. Tell me a little bit about some of those partners, because they deal in rentals and that
rentals,
sort of thing.
decor. So we have some beautiful stuff from Prop Drop Ottawa.
Okay.
The Balloon Bar does some amazing stuff with us. Vision Event Rentals. So and then with Meetings, obviously. So we try to make your party, your event, simple and delicious and hands-free.
Nice.
So our teams will come in, set everything up, make it look beautiful like this, and then you and your guests just show up.
We just relax. For the day.
Enjoy it, man.
I like it. What have you brought with you here today? Let's walk through here.
So we have a lot of different options for the holiday style parties. So obviously we have the turkey for Christmas and whatnot, but there's also there's New Year's Eve parties. There's family gatherings in between that. So we have a bunch of little things that are super easy to reheat for yourself or just assemble. So. I always like to put you to work. No cutting, but we'll let you be the sauce man today.
Why no cutting? Are you worried about my cutting skills?
I've seen the knife skills a couple of times, Derek. It's all good.
Okay, I appreciate your honesty.
So simple assembly. We have our double smoked pork belly with pineapple with our signature seasoning on it. It's the perfect balance of smoky, sweet, and then we put a little spicy honey drizzle on top.
Nice.
So it's one of our favorite catering items, and it's one of the guests' favorite items. You see them take a bite of it, and you see the oohs and the ahs and the salivating happening. So it's really fun. And then we have kind of some deconstructed sliders, some deconstructed tacos.
Okay.
Which is some of my favorite things. The meat obviously speaks for itself, but then when you can pair it in company with some delicious sauces, some fresh pico de gallo, as I heard, as I was setting up. Oh, what is that? That's the fresh smell of freshly chopped tomatoes and onions.
Going, I can smell that. Yeah,
100%. So I'm just going to show we can build some tacos. So
sure.
And a fun little tray to get.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen one of these before.
It's a great idea.
You in the restaurants, but just makes our lives a lot easier.
For sure.
Presentation, baby.
Yeah.
People eat with your eyes.
It's a big part of it. Exactly.
100%. So we make our own coleslaw, our own dressing.
Nice.
That little crunchy element in there. So I like to put it at the bottom. As a kind of base layer.
Yeah.
And then we can go to our meat. So, we're called Meetings, but it's not just about the meat. We do have vegetarian and vegan options, and when you put them side by side, you got the pulled pork and the jackfruit. But this is not meat. This is actually a fruit. Yes, exactly. So we make it for our vegan and vegetarian friends, so that
Smart.
Nowadays when you're having a group of people together, there's always going to be the gluten-free.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gluten-free like myself.
One of our best friends is a vegetarian, and if we do barbecue, just like you guys, you can use the same spices, right?
Oh,
you don't have to feel like you're being left out because everybody else is having meat and the nice rubs that you guys offer, the sauces. You can use all of those together,
That's exactly
right?
it. So we put the same seasoning as our pork on the jackfruit, smoke it the same way we would as pulled pork or chicken, you know, and then pull it apart. And as you can see, you know, it's very fibrous, it's very meaty.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's a meat eater. It's actually still pretty delicious,
nice.
I will say. So, you know,
You're a meatitarian.
I'm a meatitarian, a meat man. I've been called a lot of different things, Derek, as you can imagine, you know, being in this business with this name.
Listen, I'm a meatitarian as well, my friend. And I love the veggies, don't get me wrong. I also love the veggies.
Of course. Okay, so pick up one of those sauce bottles.
Okay.
You see we got our signature maple barbecue sauce, and we've got our chipotle mayo.
The chipotle.
You know,
I don't think I've had the chipotle
you haven't had
yet.
Chipotle yet.
I've had everything else.
So yeah, give it a little squeeze there.
Or a big one.
Or a big one. You know, you're a sauce guy too, wherever, right?
I am.
There we go.
There we go.
Like it, and then again, boom, just finish off with a little bit of pico on top, just for that fresh little boom.
Perfection.
Yes. I mean, you can have a bite now, or you can have a bite later.
I think I'm maybe later.
Maybe later.
But this is, you know, if you want to prove, maybe you just started dating someone, and you want to prove that you know this is going well. Do something like this with them, right? Get messy.
That's it.
It's the perfect thing to see if it's going to work out, right?
And you know, and you can even be, you know, a little, you know, sneaky, and maybe, you know, you take all the meat out of our trays and you put them into your dishes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it's like the charcuterie, you know, this comes in a, you know, plastic container, but right before your guests arrive, you know, you slide it out, put it onto the wooden cutting board, and oh yeah, you know, I've been slaving all day making this for you guys.
Yeah.
Look at the presentation.
Slice the meats and cheeses myself, right?
All by hand.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
So how long have you been offering up the charcuterie?
Honestly, it's been a few years now since we've been doing catering.
So.
As soon as we started getting to weddings, you know, and I want to try and bring up our level of food, you know, especially just I like showcasing food that I love,
right?
You know, so European descent, charcuterie and cheese was just always in the household.
Makes sense.
And you know, it's just a part of, you know, gathering and sharing and communal kind of style of eating.
Yeah.
So it's a fun way where everyone can kind of, you know, get in there, and then the flavors that you can make, you know, with the different kind of meat and different cheese and some pickled items and a mustard and a jelly, and you're always getting a new bite every single time.
It is honestly my favorite meal. Yeah. It really is, because as you said, if you have people over too, and make it a full meal. Sometimes people, obviously, you might use it as a starter.
Yeah.
I love just, you know, put the boards across the table, and then conversation starts, and it makes, you know, a great evening, right?
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
What else you got here? You got some nice fresh rolls here.
Some sliders. Yeah, exactly. So we use these delicious new potato buns, and like, so soft and fluffy, just like little pillows for your meat, you know.
Potato buns.
Potato buns, yeah.
Okay.
And then we make our own pickles in house. So I like to do a little pickle.
Oh, you do? I didn't realize you did. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
We make almost everything, man. Everything with from scratch. You know, it just tastes that much better. And then like to take a little bit of, or a lot of, of the pulled pork, and you're gonna come back and be a sauce man again. The sauce boss, we can call
the sauce man.
Well, sauce boss assistant.
Sauce boss. I love it. Yeah. We should again mention the turkey, and it is American Thanksgiving right now, so there's a few football games, including my Dolphins are playing tonight against the Green Bay Packers. Go Dolphins.
That's a big game.
But you guys have like an NFL snack pack.
We do have an NFL snack pack, which is great for football. I grew up playing football.
Did you? Me too.
I'm a Jets fan, unfortunately. So
sorry about that.
We're both bottom of the division.
Aaron Rodgers. See you later.
We're both in the bottom of the division, buddies. So you know.
No, whoa. We're not both in the bottom. You are in the bottom. We've won 3 games in a row. Meetings.ca to find out more information. All their products are there. They've got amazing rubs and sauces, of course. You got gift packs.
Yes.
You don't want to do turkey dinner, reach out to these guys. Best in the business. We'll be back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
Kids these days, people say we lack initiative.
And technology, that we're all addicted.
Kids these days, we hear that we only care about ourselves.
Apparently, we're lazy.
and don't seem to have any sense of independence.
Actually, kids these days are facing a lot because the world has changed, and so have our health issues. Kids these days, we could really use your help. Join CHIO in our biggest fundraising campaign ever to transform pediatric care.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Eastboro Designs. Eastboro Designs, designing a bold lifestyle through functionality and beauty. I know you keep it locked to Rogers TV each and every day. Just leave it on all day in the background. And there's Meg Stickle, 8:30 each and every morning from Monday to Friday. Fit Over 50 with Meg. And today she is joined by Sarah Dormani. She is a registered nurse and clinical director at Natural Skin and Soul Wellness Clinic. Welcome back to both of you. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Today we are talking fall prevention. Seniors in particular, Meg, and that's who you've been working with for many, many years now. We have some stats to share, but when it comes to fall prevention, what is the first thing that sort of should come to mind to seniors?
Absolutely. I think we need to think about what we can do around the house to stay on our feet. So there's so many things we can do practically. I always say you want to clear a nice path to the bathroom. If you know you're getting up in the middle of the night, make sure there's no cords or clutter on the ground. And we also want to make sure that we keep our bodies strong.
Right.
So really our best defense against falls is to have stronger legs, a stronger core, and better balance. So my advice is to get people move during the day, and then that's really what I'm all about, as you know.
Pick up those dog and cat toys too. I've got 2 dogs. I'm not a senior yet. I'm closing in on it. I don't know, what's a senior now?
Oh gosh, it depends who you ask.
Okay.
And it depends if you want a discount. Some places it's 55 plus.
Okay, I'm 55 now. So I can now go to the pharmacy and get the discount. Is that what you're saying?
It's worth the discount, right?
We're looking at some fall stats here in Canada. 1 in 3 seniors fall annually, and obviously the leading cause of injury, and that's why we're having this conversation today, Meg. And the exercises that you do on your show, all of them help with this, right? It doesn't matter what age you are. Falls are preventable if you do the right exercises.
Yes, yeah, falls happen at any age. You know, you can be even younger and have a really bad fall that can affect you. But what a lot of seniors are concerned about, especially those who live alone, is what if I fall down? How do I get up off the floor?
Right.
And that's a big concern for so many. But the stats really do show us that, you know, people are falling. So we want to normalize that as well.
Right.
That, you know, people fall. You don't need to be embarrassed about it, but there are things that you can do.
And footwear is a big part of that, Sarah. That's where I'm turning, and foot care.
Yeah.
So let's start with foot care before we get into footwear in general.
Yeah.
What should we be thinking about when it comes to foot care?
Well, I always say that your feet are the foundation of your body, and you need a solid foundation to be able to stay strong, and we want you to stay strong and active. So it's important to prioritize your foot health as well. So checking your feet every day. So if you're not able to look under your feet, then use a mirror to help out, but essentially you want to look for anything that shouldn't be there and anything that should be addressed by a healthcare professional. So if you have corns, calluses, cracked heels, ingrown toenails, fungal toenails, thick, painful toenails. Those are all things that you shouldn't be going on YouTube and try to do a bathroom surgery.
Right.
You should really go see a foot care specialist and have those addressed. There's a lot we can do in clinic to help you out.
Yeah, don't diagnose and treat yourself according to what you find on the World Wide Web, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing. So at your clinic, then, what do you provide for people when it comes to foot care?
So our foot care services are offered by our team of registered nurses who are all specialize in foot care.
Okay.
So we're able to do assessments and address any conditions that need to be addressed, and then get you on a treatment plan. So typically we'll have people come in every 6 to 8 weeks just to make sure that their feet stay healthy, and we can provide their medical pedicure or their foot care services as well. Just like your eyes and teeth, you get those checked out, so it's important to get your feet checked out as well. But especially with our high-risk population, so if we have diabetics or people that underwent chemotherapy, they can have neuropathy.
Okay.
So then they would have nerve damage, so they're not able to feel their feet. And then that's where the importance of foot care and footwear is really, really important, because we don't want those people to be walking with their feet like unprotected you know.
Well, let's transition into that. Tell me about footwear and what should we be considering when we buy a new pair of shoes or whatever we're buying.
So indoor and outdoor footwear is important. So it's not just what you wear outside, but also inside, because more than 50% of falls actually happen within the person's home. So that's so when we're looking for a shoe, so I'll just show you an example of a shoe here that I like. So we're looking for something that is comfortable and stable, and that is offering support. We want to make sure that you have the right length, but also the right width. We don't want your toes to feel crammed in there, so that you have enough wiggle room for your toes, so there's no pressure or friction that can cause sores or blisters.
Right.
We also want to make sure that you have a good sole that is stable and good contact with the floor. And I really, really like shoes that are adjustable, so either laces or Velcro, because people that have swollen foot, they need shoes that are adjustable in case their feet swells up.
Right.
And the other thing that I really, really like, either with a outdoor shoe or indoor shoe, is that you can remove the insole, and if you need a custom cushioning or arch support, you can put that in there.
Yeah. Well, Meg, you're going to give us some examples of some exercises we can do to help with fall prevention. So let's do a few of those.
Absolutely. So I suggest doing these behind a chair.
Okay.
So we can share this chair here. Perfect. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to be lifting our knee, and then extend the leg, and then bend that knee and lower your foot back down. So we'll do it again on the same side.
Okay.
Now, those who do need the chair, I do suggest using it. Think about being nice and tall, so shoulders back, engage your core, so just like you're tightening up a pair of pants.
Okay.
And then if you can, lift your arms and do the same thing, and try to go a little bit slower.
Balance here, Sarah.
Yes. There we go. See how high you can lift that leg. Now we'll do the other side, because oftentimes we have one side that is stronger than the other. And that's really normal. So
okay, good, because I think this side is not as strong.
Yes, yeah. So this is a really good one you can do right by a counter. I recommend people exercise at home and do it in a safe way.
Right.
Now another one we can do for strength is a squat. So we'll move the chairs back along with a crossover. So we want our feet to be nice and wide, toes pointing out to the corners of the room, hands together. We're going to start by bending those knees, take your hips back, and then when you rise up, we're going to cross right over, so reach for your opposite knee. Do both sides, hands together, and we'll do some more squats.
All right, while you're doing that, you continue doing that. If you want to get in touch with Sarah, go to naturalsoulwellness.ca, and for Meg, activitiesinmotion.ca, and don't forget, you can watch Fit Over 50 with Meg Monday to Friday at 8:30 a.m. right here on Rogers TV. We'll be back with a little magic for you right after this. Don't go anywhere.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
This is a man's heart, a heart in desperate need of medical attention. But because 78% of Indigenous people experience racism in healthcare, he may not get the help he needs. Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
Join me, holistic chef Daniela Croco, for season 4 of Simply Cooking by Chef right here on Rogers TV.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Eastboro Designs. Eastboro Designs, designing a bold lifestyle through functionality and beauty. Time to talk a little magic, and no one better. They have performed all around the world, both Ted and Marion. Marion, not here today, but we're thinking of you, Marion. She's doing some traveling and visiting family. But Ted Outerbridge joins me from Outerbridge Magic, Mysteries of the Keyhole House. Welcome back to the show.
Great to be back. Thank you.
Hair looks great.
Thank you. Cara, yes, from Bruno Racine's studio.
Yes.
She worked her magic on my hair yesterday.
Wonderful.
I'm delighted.
Yeah, and happens to be my sponsor, and you were reaching out and like, hey, who do I go see? You got to go to Bruno Racine, of course. Good. So a big thanks to Cara. You did a wonderful, and Ben, who did my hair recently. Yeah. For those that are not familiar with the show, tell them a little bit about this show and what makes it really spectacular,
yes,
Ted.
It is special. We're magicians. We moved into an old haunted house, and the show is us telling a true story about living in a haunted house with a ghost. And the ghost is upset about something. So with the help of the audience, we work out the mystery. We work out why the ghost is not happy, and we work out her problems for her.
Yeah, and a really incredible history around this house. My wife and I were so grateful that you invited us for dinner and you walked us through the history of that home. I guess that's what drew you to the Keyhole House?
Yeah, walked through the keyhole and touched this old molding and all these old artifacts in the house and fell in love with the house. So a magician walking through a keyhole,
doesn't get any better than that. Yeah. You've been on tour recently in Ontario. Yes. You started, of course, in the Ottawa Valley. What's the response been to this show?
It's been amazing. Yeah. Nice. St. Catharines, Guelph, Markham, Milton, great standing ovations.
Nice.
The show is a mix of grand illusion, people floating and people disappearing and appearing, mind reading. Yeah, it's been fantastic.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the history because you found many artifacts in and around the house, in particular behind the mantle. And we're going to talk about the man behind the mantle. We're going to play a little video here, and you're going to narrate this because who is this man behind the mantle?
So this is John Briggs. John Briggs, we found his photograph behind the mantle. And John Briggs, we used the photograph to identify him using his cap badge and his missing front tooth. We identified him, Sergeant John Briggs. He served in the Royal Canadian Navy, World War I. He served with the Canadian Army, and he lived at the Keyhole House. He died at the age of 56. He had a heart attack, very young, and he was buried in an unmarked grave. I wrote about the situation in our local paper and on social media, and we contacted the Last Post Fund. The Last Post Fund provides military gravestones for veterans. And there were 800 people ahead of John Briggs.
Okay.
And this summer we learned that the order has been placed. His headstone has been ordered, and so he will have his dignity restored.
What an incredible thing for you to do, though, for this man and, of course, his family as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just amazing.
I forgot to show you this, but that's a Christmas card that was behind the mantle, addressed to Mr. and Mrs. John Briggs, 1937.
I don't know when you're going to look at that, okay?
You know, I feel like I know him in a way. Yeah.
You're going to perform a little bit of magic for us.
Yes.
And is this sort of a segue from this story into this magic?
Yeah, so John Briggs is from England, was from England. His father was a Liberal politician, and his father also ran a cotton mill. And we found this spool of cotton thread at the Keyhole House, and it inspired what has become my favorite piece of magic. So I'd like to perform it today in honor of Sergeant John Briggs.
Okay.
life is a lot like a piece of thread. It's fragile, but it can bind things together.
Right.
It has a beginning and an end. They're not the important parts. The important parts are those moments in the middle, moments of celebration with your family and your friends, and times of solitude, triumphant successes and failure, moments of intense love, times of tragic separation, happiness and sadness. Without one, it's hard to appreciate the other. It's been an honor to be on this fantastic Daytime Ottawa show with you, talking about Sergeant John Briggs, and I hope that these times will leave everyone with some nice memories, and I hope that our paths are going to cross again soon.
Are you kidding me?
As we continue our journeys through life.
Okay, we need like an applause, like little sign that comes out or something. I need like a live studio. So this is one of many tricks. So you walk people through this show. You walk people through all the magic that you found in this house, and you combine it all to entertain, right?
Yes,
that's the idea behind it.
Inspired the show. The ghost, she's a friendly ghost, by the way. The creepy level is, family friendly.
Right,
so
right. I was going to ask, so this show...
love the ghost.
Right, it's suitable for all ages, right?
Exactly, yeah. So, grand illusion, interactive magic. Yes.
And Marion's obviously coming back. The two of you work together in what fashion? Like, how would you describe the work that you do?
25 years together.
Yeah.
Marion is a dancer who performs magic. I'm a magician who can't dance. That's the deal.
It's it's a match made in heaven. Yeah.
We have a time machine from our old show. She took it for a spin. She ended up in Europe, and the chronomodulators have been configured, so she'll be back tomorrow afternoon at 3:03.
Nice.
All goes well.
You've got a run at the Ottawa Little Theatre coming up, right? Just after the holidays,
We're
right?
back, yes. So
nice.
a ticket to our show is a great gift. Give the gift of an experience.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And when you bring all these artifacts together in the show, do you actually bring physically some of the artifacts to the show?
We do. We have them on stage. We also have some video clips that we share so people get to know the house a little better, and then the ghost does make a few appearances on stage.
Yeah, and I can guarantee that my wife and I, and actually my mom and my stepfather went to their show. It is absolutely spectacular. It will blow your mind. So that is coming up January 2nd and 3rd at 7:30 p.m., January 4th at both 3 and 7:30 p.m., and then January 5th at 3 p.m. If you go to outerbridge.eventbrite.com, you can get your tickets, and they will sell out. So make sure you get your tickets, and it's a fabulous venue to see magic and illusion. We'll be back with more right after this.
Kids these days, people say we lack initiative.
And technology, that we're all addicted.
Kids these days, we hear that we only care about ourselves. Apparently, we're lazy.
And don't seem to have any sense of independence.
Actually, kids these days are facing a lot.
Because the world has changed, and so have our health issues. Kids these days, we could really use your help. Join CHIO in our biggest fundraising campaign ever to transform pediatric care.
Unbelievable! You just never see that. What a shot! Scores! The OHL on Rogers TV.
With clubs, leagues, and courts in every province and territory across Canada, squash is the sport for wall-to-wall fun, fitness, and friendship. From coast to coast to coast. Learn to play, and you'll want to do it every day. Squash. Play inside the box.
Hi, I'm Sam LaPrade, host of Ottawa Business Matters. We're going to gather here every single week and speak about business here in the capital. We're going to inspire, influence, and inform. I'm Sam LaPrade. I hope you join us for an hour to give. It's a wonderful way to learn all about the charities and nonprofits in this community that are changing and saving lives. Look forward to seeing you then.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Regular guest here on the show talking everything gardening and in particular why it's so important to plant native plants. But this is the time of year you should think about sowing your seeds. Sandora Alfred Purvis joins me back on the show, certified landscape designer and owner of A Cultivated Art. Welcome back. Great to have you. Let's talk why we winter sow seeds. I was going to say at this time of year. Of course, it's this time of year because it's winter sowing. But why is that important to think about?
So an awful lot of native species, especially the perennials, the winter hardy ones, but even some of the native annual species, they don't believe it's time to germinate until they've been out in the winter.
Okay.
And they're like, okay, winter's gone by. Okay, it's done. We got all the freezing and thawing. Okay, now it's safe to sprout. And so if you just take those seeds, gather those seeds, keep them nice and dry indoors all winter, and then try to plant them in the spring, they're gonna be like, no, you can't fool me.
Really?
Winter hasn't happened yet.
Interesting.
I'm not growing until winter has happened.
Okay.
So they do need a cold treatment. And sometimes people do this in the fridge, and I used to do it where you'd wrap them up in paper towel, or even better, a coffee filter, because the seeds don't stick as badly to a coffee filter.
Okay.
And get that damp and tuck them in the fridge in a baggie and leave them there for 1 to 2 months, depending on which species. And then you could take them out and you could sow them. And I used to do that, but it's actually a lot easier and just as, if not even more effective, to just plant the seeds now and then put the pots outside.
Really?
And ignore them until they germinate.
Okay.
It's really that easy.
Right. You're going to walk us through the steps before we get to the point of putting them outside. So what is step number one?
Step number one is you need to get some seeds.
Right.
You can gather seeds. This is New England aster. They're shedding a lot of seeds right now.
Right.
And you can just gather from wild plants. You want to figure out which wild plants you're gathering from, both so you're not accidentally spreading an invasive species, and also so that you can look up what their germination requirements are.
Okay.
So there's a few places you can do that. There's one I know I shared the link of is growing wild plants from seed is a good resource. It's all sort of Eastern Canada species of how to actually germinate them, how to grow them.
Wildplantsfromseed.com, by the way, for everybody at home. Yeah.
And then there's another, it's a U.S. Seed company called Prairie Moon is another good place to look up. You can look up species, and they sell seeds, but they have a really informative website.
Excellent.
So you're going to gather your seeds, you're going to look up, and if it says winter stratification, it usually says 30, 60, or 90 days. For all of those, you can go ahead and just plant them out this time of year.
Okay.
That's just if you're doing like the refrigerator treatment, and you know how much is the minimum amount of time of cold, but you don't have to limit the cold. So you can plant them out. So once you've got your seeds, and you know that they do require a cold treatment, because a few don't.
Right, okay.
And you can just plant those in the spring like you normally would. Once you have seeds, though, you want to, and this is the only piece of this that I actually say to buy, because you can get free seeds, you can gather them, you can get them from the Ottawa Wildflower Seed Library. Right. I make my labels out of yogurt containers. Reuse I'll get to why I have these containers, but fruit comes in them.
Okay.
Pots are used. You can often get free pots. People give them away on Facebook.
All the time, yeah.
The one thing I tend to encourage people to buy, and it's just for this stage, once they're bigger, you can use garden soil, but buy some good potting soil for starting them.
Okay.
Because the roots will go through it more easily. It doesn't have the little critters in it, whether the visible or the invisible ones, that like to eat seeds, because actually most seeds that plants drop out in the wild get eaten by something.
By
whether
insects?
it's insects, worms, all the different soil-dwelling critters, different types of fungi and bacteria, all kinds of things like to eat seeds because they're full of nutrients. That's why we eat grains.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you plant them in regular soil, if the soil's got lots of life, which is what gives soil a nice structure, a lot of that life's going to try to eat your seeds, and if the soil doesn't have lots of life, it tends to pack down into a brick, and it's hard for those roots to get through.
Okay.
So don't use garden soil for this step. Do get some potting soil. It doesn't have to be real fancy, but just a decent potting soil.
Right.
One of the things you'll have looked up when you come across when you looked up seeds is some of them will say something called surface sow.
Surface sow, okay.
Because a lot of seeds won't germinate unless they're actually exposed to light, because then they know there's nothing on top of them and they have a space to grow.
Right.
And so it's an interesting adaptation.
Because I think we forget that, right? Is that seeds, like native plants, they just drop onto the ground. No one is digging and putting them in the soil, right?
Well, and the funny thing is, some of them actually have figured out how to get other critters to dig them and put them in for them. So some of the early spring ones, most of them are planted by ants. They actually grow this extra lump of this fatty, proteiny stuff on the outside. So the ants will take the seeds, take them back to their nests. They'll eat that off of the outside, and then they'll take the seed and they'll toss it out where they pile everything else they throw. And they're actually planting them.
That is incredible.
So there's all kinds of neat adaptations, but a lot of the ones that we sow are sort of meadow species that are used to having the wind blow their seeds away, and they land on the ground.
Okay.
And a lot of those require surface sowing. So literally, you're just going to spread the seeds on top of the soil.
Okay.
And you're going to want to pat them down so that they're not blowing away.
They don't blow. Yeah, exactly.
And I'm just going to mention one thing because I often forget to mention it. Pre-wet your soil. Often when it comes out of bags, or if I buy it by the bale because I do a lot of pots. It's really, really dry. And you pour water on it, and the water likes to just almost run off. So you put it in a container, you dump a whole bunch of water in it. So in a container like this, you'd put like a jug of water in.
So like a full liter, like one of those, basically.
Yeah, and you'd mix it in, and you'd leave it sit for half an hour or so, mix it up again, and then you're good to go.
Okay.
It's going to not shed the water off, which it will if it's dry.
I have 60 seconds left. I just want to give you a heads up. Okay.
Label them.
Yes, very important. You think you're going to remember, and you won't.
I like these pens. They're Lumicolor Permanent by Stadtler, and I find they will hold up for about 2 years in the sun on yogurt containers. Spread the seeds on top. Water them in. I get these little tops from Lee Valley Tools, sells these by the pack. They're just a couple of dollars.
Oh, cool.
Put them into something to keep the critters from digging them up. So you want to close the lids. If you use these containers, this is just what fruit comes in from the grocery store. If you're doing a whole bunch, often people will put them out in a tray and put a window screen on top. It can be on a frame like this. It can just be loose and you weigh the edges down.
Okay. And then just let the snow cover it and do its thing.
Yep, put them somewhere shady.
There are some seed giveaways. If you go to wildseedlibrary.ca, you can find out more information. I will remind you about that at the end of the show and give you the upcoming dates. We'll be back with more right after this.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
For me, the end was just the beginning. I felt I must come. If I did not come at once, it would be too late. And these places that are watered with the best blood of Canada might only be names and memories. I see it in the soldiers, the grief I know so intimately. And I will not abandon these men to it. The isolation wears on me. Slowly, the silence takes over, as if my heart has given out of air. I cannot talk. I can only paint.
For more than 2 years, Mary Ryder Hamilton painted the battlefields of the First World War, creating an unforgettable visual record of service and sacrifices at immense personal cost.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Those Christmas markets have begun to sprung up all over the place, and 613 Flea has some great holiday Christmas markets coming up with some amazing vendors. And guess what? I have two of those amazing vendors on the show today. Grace is the owner of Gracelets by Grace. Of course, that makes sense, doesn't it? And Angelita is the owner of Angelita & Co. Welcome. Great to have you both here. Real pleasure. Grace, let's talk a little bit about 613 Flea in these markets coming up. This is a real opportunity for people to get unique items, right, that they're not going to find anywhere else.
Oh, yeah, it's full of handmade goods. There's lots of vintage as well, which is really in right now. But I think just local vendors all around Ottawa, over 200 of us. That'll be over the weekend. On Friday, we're inside the Aberdeen Pavilion, and on Saturday and Sunday, we'll be at Carleton University inside the Field House.
Nice.
Good time to shop.
Yeah, and Angelita, the nice part about this sort of shopping too, right, is you can walk around, there's beverages for people, there's food, so it's a real great experience, right, instead of going to your big box store or mall. Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's really nice to help the small businesses around the city, bakers, artisans, as well as vintage finds that you can shop for all at the Aberdeen as well as Carleton University this weekend, a triple market weekend.
Exactly. and Grace, I mean, this is a great opportunity for an entrepreneur like yourself as well, right? Like, how important are these markets to somebody like you?
I always say that the Ottawa small business community is unmatched. The Ottawa community in general just really shows up for us, and these markets just help our local economy thrive and make sure that your money stays local, right?
Yeah.
And that's really needed right now, and I think it's a lovely place to do it. Lovely venues as well, and amazing businesses that are there.
Couldn't agree more. And by the way, 613, the Christmas market at the Fieldhouse of Carleton U is November 30th and December 1st, and then you've got the holiday night markets, and I'll give you those dates coming up in just a little bit. But let's talk about each of you and your businesses. So Angelita, tell me a little bit about your business, the history and inspiration behind it.
Yeah, for sure. So this is Angelita & Co. I make hair and home accessories. And so I started my business in 2020 in the height of the pandemic because I decided to make masks for my family members, and I made cute ones with Star Wars themes and princess themes, and I posted them on my personal Instagram page, and then I got so many messages and my personal growth, just people started writing to me asking if they could purchase them, and now obviously I don't make masks anymore, so we've pivoted. I make scrunchies, headbands, some neck warmers here, as well as pillows and anything handmade.
Yeah, and it looks like you have fun, right? I mean, the designs, like what inspires you to come up with some of the designs that you have here?
Yeah, so I do come out with, uniquely find geeky prints.
Yeah.
So I try to find cool and unique things that you won't find at a local fabric store. But 90% of my fabric is sourced in Canada. So we're supporting our economy as well.
Nice.
So yeah, I love searching up geeky prints like Pokemon. I've got some princesses here. See, Moana, just the new movie came out this weekend. I'm so excited to watch it. So yeah, lots of different prints, and I just love finding new and exciting prints to add. And I have over 1,000 prints at my booth. So this is only a sample of what you would see at the 613 this weekend for 3 days. So.
Very nice. I love it. Grace, tell me a little bit about the history. How did you get started?
So I started my business when I was 11 years old.
Really?
I started selling at local farmers markets in my area, and then I grew my business more. I joined 613 Flea in about 2022.
Okay.
So I've been in business now for 14 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I specialize in high-quality, semi-precious gemstone jewelry. I hand make everything myself, and I love doing what I do. I make so many different colors, and I also do custom sizes. So at my booth, I'm always happy to adjust a bracelet for somebody if it doesn't quite fit them, which I know is a problem when it comes to some of these bracelets.
Right.
But I love what I do. I love creating, and my knotted necklaces right here are all hand knotted in the same way that a pearl necklace is. So there's a knot between every single bead. They're filled with AA and AAA grade gemstones, and I think my passion for gemstones and jewelry really just flourished when I was 11 years old.
Yeah, so Well, I mean, when you were 11, what sort of, was there something in particular that you were gifted, or where did that inspiration come from?
Honestly, my grandmother always told me that you can never have too much jewelry.
I love grandmothers for that kind of thing. That is awesome.
I always had a love for gemstones from a very young age. I used to go trade my gemstones at the Museum of Natural History when they had that program years ago. And then going into jewelry and loving sparkly things. I'm a magpie myself, so anything sparkly I'm drawn to. It was just kind of a natural progression in my business. And I wasn't just inspired by everything around me, but a lot from my grandparents. My mom is a big supporter. My father's a big supporter as well. Honestly, I just am inspired by everything, and I love color. So playing with natural color and natural gemstones is something that I just adore.
Yeah, and Angelita, you know, when I think, you know, you're both entrepreneurs, obviously young entrepreneurs, and everyone, I think, you know, when it comes to business, you know, it's so competitive. It's not quite as competitive as everybody thinks. Just, I mean, the experience of being part of something like 613 Flea and, you know, meeting all these local vendors and artisans. And so what has that experience been like?
Yeah, so I've loved vending at 613. I've been doing it since 2021.
Okay.
So it's been a really great experience. I've loved meeting vendors. I now have vendor friends. See, I met Grace last weekend.
Nice.
Now we're vendor friends. So the community is really great. And, you know, there isn't that much competition. I would say there are a lot of people that make scrunchies, but do they all have Pokemon on them? I don't know. So as long as you find your niche, there's definitely something that you can make and sell and be a part of this vendor community.
Yeah, and Grace, I mean, you know, being a part of this community, I imagine you go home with I mean, the money that you're making, does it end up getting spent on some of these other vendors, right? Because you're just surrounded by so much incredible things, right?
Oh, yes. It's, as Angelita said, it's such a wonderful community that 613 Flea is.
Yeah.
That goes with the customers and with all the vendors, right? All the vendors have their own community, and the amount of customers that are now going to be longtime customers of mine that I've met there has been absolutely like amazing. And I think it's, again, amazing community.
Yeah.
I think that's really what it comes down to, and how much Ottawa sticks out for small business. Every single time there's a 613 Flea, it's unmatched. I swear more and more people come every time.
For those that, if they perhaps can't make it down to one of the markets, they can find you online. That's the easiest way for the two of you?
Yeah, so I'm available on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, so you can always send me a DM and order something through that way.
And same for you, Grace?
I have a website, and I do have DM to order on my Instagram as well, so direct message me. Always open to local drop-offs and local pickups as well.
I'll remind you of those dates at the end of the show. We'll be back with more right after this.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
Are you a content creator looking to expand your audience and make your voice heard in your community? Rogers TV wants to provide you with a platform to share your hobbies, interests, and stories for free. Visit us to find out more.
Hello, I'm Liz Dowdswell, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. In 2008, carbon monoxide, a deadly invisible gas, killed an entire family in our province. That tragedy led to a new law requiring homes with potential CO sources to have alarms. John Gignac's family members passed away that day, and he shares his story to save others.
Please make sure you have working CO alarms in your home. Protect your family today.
Watch Podium exclusively on Rogers TV.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
Well, it's the most wonderful time of year for many things. Of course, you know, we talked about food and gathering and social gatherings and Christmas markets. You know what? One of the other great things about this time of year is all the Christmas concerts that are available here in the city of Ottawa. And this Christmas concert is absolutely magical. Here to tell us more about it, I'm joined by Francine Brisebois. She is the director of Immaculate Heart of Mary Church Choir. Welcome. Great to have you here. And Jocelyn Brodeur is the assistant director. Welcome, Jocelyn. Great to have you as well. Francine, I'll start with you. Tell me a little bit about this particular choir. We'll get to the concert in a moment, but tell me about the choir itself, a little of the history behind it.
Well, I'm a choir director and organist at Immaculate Heart of Mary, which is located at 1758 Alta Vista Drive in Ottawa. And I was hired as a choir director, and I've been there for quite a number of years.
Nice.
Yeah, so our main purpose is not concert, obviously, but we started doing this Christmas concert, or I started organizing it. Well, this is the 33rd edition of the concert.
Right.
Sorry, I've got to sometimes.
No, that's okay. You don't have to be sorry.
To translate. I'm also choir director of the Anglican Church on, which is called St. Margaret's Vanier on Montreal Road.
Oh, yeah,
and so the two choirs will be uniting for that particular event. But on a regular basis, we sing at all the Christmas Mass and special celebrations like Christmas, Christmas Eve, or all Holy Week and so forth. Yes.
Jocelyn, how did you get involved as assistant director?
I joined the choir in 2001.
Okay.
And I came from another community and joined the choir here, and haven't looked back ever since that point in time. So I joined as a singer, and then that evolved into assisting Francine with the day-to-day, the week-to-week for the choir itself.
Right.
But then, of course, because we had the concert, it evolved into that as well.
Is it an auditioned choir? Like, tell me a little bit more about the choir itself.
Two perspectives. Our choir is ministry.
Okay.
And so we see what we provide as part of the music ministry for our parish. And extending that to the concert, we extend that music ministry to the people and the needs of the people.
Wonderful. And there's a few choirs and a soloist involved. So tell me a little bit about that and those partnerships.
So this coming Sunday, and this is our poster.
We just brought it up on screen. Good timing.
Excellent. So we'll be participating the Ottawa Catholic School Board Chamber Choir. There's a big choir of about 50 people, 50 high school kids. Then we will also be joined by Le Grand Chœur de la Salle. Again, about 30 high school kids.
Wow.
And then our choir, which is the Immaculate Heart of Mary Choir, along with St. Margaret's, are going to participate as joint choirs. Mallory Williams will be our soloist this year. Mallory is a fourth-year music performance program at Carleton, and got a terrific voice, terrific voice.
Beautiful.
And all that will be accompanied by the group's accompanist, pianist. There will be a string trio accompanying, but also part of the participation is the Ottawa Wind Ensemble, which is brass, woodwinds, percussion, about a 30-member professional, semi-professional musicians. And at the end of the concert, once the individual groups have performed, there are two selections, then we join for combined choirs.
All of you come together?
Yes.
Oh my man,
accompanied
that's
by
amazing.
the Ottawa Wind and with the soloist as well.
That sounds incredible. So Jocelyn, how would you describe the music? Tell me a little bit about what you have planned.
The music is a little bit of everything.
Okay.
So it includes classic for those people who enjoy the more classic pieces, but it also includes more contemporary pieces, all oriented around the Christmas. And each group chooses their own. We'll do a couple of pieces on their own.
And to kind of amplify the whole thing, in between, there's an opportunity for those attending to sing Christmas carols.
Nice. I love that idea.
And then at the very end, we join together to do 4 pieces together.
Francine, for those 4 pieces, do you have an opportunity to all rehearse? I mean, getting all those people together must be very difficult.
Well, let's say that we choose the program and the individual, not the individual, the combined pieces. We choose that early in the spring with the participation. So every group learns, and they all have excellent directors, We've worked with them a number of years. And but we do have a general rehearsal, which is all morning of this coming Saturday, November 30th. So we put it
it's free admission, but you are asking for donations and you're giving back. Tell us how you're giving back and to who.
The benefit, this benefit concert is for Erin Emergency Food Center. And so, yes, we do have, during the concert itself, a collection for those people who want to give, and they can give whatever they want, whatever they can afford.
Yeah, and it's so difficult times right now, and emergency food centers like this means so much to so many people in our community. A reminder, 33rd Annual Immaculate Heart of Mary Christmas Concert, Sunday, December the 1st at 3 p.m., 1758 Alta Vista Drive is where you need to go. And don't forget, bring those donations because you'll make a big difference in someone's life over the holidays. We'll be back to wrap things up right after this.
We fought our way through Italy and then headed for Amsterdam, sweeping for Germans along the way. Our worst fear was to catch a bullet in these last hours of the war.
I was 15 when the Nazis invaded the Netherlands. More than 100,000 Dutch Jews never came home. Our men were put into forced labor. By 1945, we were starving. The food drops gave us hope. And then the Canadians came.
Before Amsterdam, I couldn't have explained why we were there, all those years away from home, but the Dutch showed us why it mattered.
Papa wanted me to bring some soldiers home to thank them personally, and that's when I first saw Wilf, and I invited him over that afternoon.
Marguerite Blaise married Lieutenant Wilf Gildersleeve. They moved to Vancouver, where they raised 8 children. Today, the Dutch still remember the Canadians who liberated them.
My goodness, so much going on this time of year. It's crazy. All right, let's talk about the events that we talked about on today's show. Just as a reminder, Outerbridge Magic, Mysteries of the Keyhole House. If you love magic and illusion, suitable for all ages, by the way, outerbridge.eventbrite.com to find out about ticket information. That's happening at the Ottawa Little Theatre, January 2nd and 3rd at 7:30 p.m., January 4th at both 3 and 7:30 p.m., and then January 5th at 3 p.m. So you've got a lot of opportunities to go and see the show. Those seed giveaways that Sandora was talking about, if you go to wildseedlibrary.ca, you will find the schedule there. But at Tom Brown Arena, coming up on December 7th from 1 to 3 p.m., and then at the Beaverbrook Center, December 21st, same timing for that, 1 to 3 p.m. And if you're sowing seeds and you're looking at for requirements, how to do it properly, if you head over to wildplantsfromseed.com, they'll walk you right through all of that. 613 Flea Christmas is happening at the Fieldhouse at Carlton U, November 30th and December 1st, and 613 Holiday Night Market at the Aberdeen Pavilion, November 29th, December 6th, and December 13th. 613flea.com to find out more information.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Hello everyone, my name is Kwadwo Karamantang. I'm an ICU physician here in Ottawa, and I'm so excited to bring to you our latest show, Solving Healthcare with Dr. K. We're gonna tackle some of healthcare's biggest issues, and more importantly, we're gonna talk about ways to leverage preventive health. How do you avoid seeing someone like myself in the intensive care unit? And this show is exclusive on Rogers TV, so please tune in. You guys are gonna love it.